If you are in the middle of a forest in the dead of night, and suddenly you feel a very clear sense that you should keep going, then please remember this story. Because on a winter night in 1978, 5 men followed that feeling, and none of them should have died. On February 24th, 1978, 5 men left their homes to watch a basketball game in Chico, California. They were Gary Mathias, Jack Madruga, Bill Sterling, Ted Wire, Jack Hewitt. They had known each other for years. They lived with their families. They had stable jobs. Some of them had mild intellectual disabilities, but they lived normal lives, worked regular jobs, and took care of themselves. They didn't drink. They didn't cause trouble. And they all shared one very important thing in common. They were afraid of the cold. They were afraid of the mountains and the forest. That night, they only planned to watch a basketball game and then go home. The next morning, their families couldn't reach them. A few days later, their car was found, abandoned deep in the Plumas Mountains. Wrong road, wrong direction, completely wrong. The car wasn't broken, it wasn't stuck, it could still be driven, but they left it behind, in the middle of winter. With temperatures dropping below -10 degrees Celsius, and they made the decision to walk into the forest. Their footprints were later found in the snow. They weren't running. There were no signs of struggle, no chaos, just 5 men walking side by side at a steady pace, as if they knew exactly where they were going. There were no signs of an attack, no evidence of force. They left safety by choice, and that is the most frightening part. 3 months later, when the snow began to melt, search teams discovered a Forest Service cabin. Inside was the body of Ted Wire. He was covered with 8 layers of blankets, wearing multiple pieces of clothing, but not all of them were his. Next to him were emergency food supplies that could have lasted for weeks, matches, heating equipment, but none of it had been used properly. Ted died from starvation and hypothermia, not because he lacked supplies, but because he failed to do the most basic things needed to survive. The others were found scattered along the route back toward the car. One man died from the cold, but had removed his shoes. Another died close to shelter, but never went inside. And Gary Mathias, the only one in the group who was never found. No body, no trace. He vanished completely. There was no evidence of a crime, no attacker, no clear motive. Several theories were proposed: strange lights in the mountains, an encounter with a stranger, mass panic. But none of them explain everything. The only thing we know for sure is this: all it took was one person believing in something, and the other 4 followed. If you look at the map, you'll see that the path they took leads nowhere. No destination, no purpose, just a direction. And 5 men chose it at the same time. To this day, no one knows what they saw that night. But if one day you find yourself in absolute silence, and you suddenly feel very strongly that you should leave a place of safety, remember the Yuba County 5, because sometimes the most dangerous guide of all is the feeling that you're doing the right thing.